All right, man. June 1st is here, and the NFL is officially broken as the Philadelphia Eagles are trading wide receiver A.J. Brown to the New England Patriots, man. It's a 2028 first round pick going back to Philadelphia in the deal, and a 2027 fifth round pick. New England has two of them. It'll be whatever one is the higher pick. A.J. Brown reunites with coach Mike Vrabel. One of the NFL's longest running sagas ends with a splash, kind of ends in a direction we all predicted that this was going to go. So I'm going to talk about it first from the Patriots perspective because I think that that's kind of the easiest way to attack it. And then there's a lot of different pieces to talk about from the Eagles standpoint, I think. From the Patriots standpoint, you weren't good enough last year. Obviously, you made the Super Bowl, but I think it's fair to say, and the Patriots recognized it in the mirror, that they were not the best team in the AFC, at least on paper, going into this season. I think that there was a lot of teams that improved in the AFC. I think Denver, if healthy, probably beats them last year. New England recognized in the league, you cannot just stay stagnant. You have to continue to improve and try and get your team better. And that is what they went into this offseason looking to do, and they're clearly looking to continue to do that throughout, which is why it's a 2028 first round pick, not 2027 pick. They understand the timeline, especially with Drake May, how young he is and how good he is already, is a longer window than just this season. But when you have Drake May, who's as good as he is and could have won the MVP last year, you got to be willing to compete and put your balls on the table this season. And they really look to improve the offense around him. They drafted offensive line. They went out and signed Romeo Doubs in free agency. And now they went and traded for a top 10 wide receiver in the sport in A.J. Brown. This is a match made in heaven, man. I think Drake May and A.J. Brown is going to be one of the league's best quarterback wide receiver duos next season. The Patriots are going to be a high volume passing offense. Drake May was already one of the most efficient quarterbacks in football last year. You could attribute that, chalk some of that up to an easy schedule if you want to, but ultimately, I think if you're that efficient consistently against NFL level defenses, you're that dude. And Josh McDaniels and Drake May proved to me last year like this is a winning combination, and now they've gotten better weapons wise. Last year it was Stephon Diggs and Kayshon Boutte and pieces like that were kind of like your main force. Now Boutte is probably your wide receiver 3 and Romeo Doubs your 2, AJ Brown your 1. A much better offensive receiving core than where you were at last year when you were already statistically one of the league's best passing offenses. New England, I think, has the potential to get even better as a passing offense this season, and I would not be surprised if statistically they were a top 3 passing unit in football. A.J. Brown is certainly going to get his. He is the no doubt alpha wide receiver 1 in this offense, and it truthfully is kind of the best of both worlds for A.J. He did not like being a part of Philadelphia anymore because they shifted to a run first offense, and the passing offense was stale compared to what New England's passing offensive scheme is going to be. But also in New England, he's clearly the one. Like, he's going to see 8, 9, 10 targets a game. Drake May is going to get him those looks, and Drake May is a competent enough quarterback that those are going to be good looks. A.J. Brown did have a little bit of a down year production-wise and play-wise from himself last season, but it's still one of the 10 best wide receivers in football. Still an excellent 50-50 ball specialist. Got tremendous size that he knows how to use to his advantage. And a motivated A.J. Brown is going to be a really good A.J. Brown. And when you look at New England now, this is a team that, Patriots fans are going to give me some slack, some hate for this, but I thought that they were a fringe playoff team a week ago, a day ago, a couple hours ago. With A.J. Brown, though, I believe that this offense will be a top 10 unit in football, and the Patriots feel to me like a playoff lock and a team that gained some experience there last year. And if Drake May continues to improve, and a young offensive line continues to improve, and if Travion Henderson can take another step, an offense that is to be feared by the rest of the NFL. Now, there were some ifs in there, but ultimately, this is a move that New England had no choice but to make. It's a good move for them. It is worth the draft capital that it costed, and they are a better team today for it. From the Eagles' perspective, this was also kind of a move where your hand was starting to be forced. A.J. Brown had shown some disgruntlement, didn't really want to be there, and it was starting to affect not only the locker room, the morale of the team, but last year we saw it come to a head and it was affecting play on the field. 2 years ago, Saquon has the 2,000-yard season, everything's rolling, the defense is amazing, they win the Super Bowl, you didn't see the effect. So I don't blame them for not moving off of A.J. Brown after that, thinking, we have enough talent to play through this. But last year you saw it. It just wasn't good enough. Multiple instances where A.J. Brown didn't show up for the team, wasn't giving 100% on routes. In the playoff game versus San Francisco, if you go back and just kind of watch the play in that game, I think it tells you all you need to know. The Philadelphia Eagles had to move on from A.J. Brown. That's the reality of the situation. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the Eagles basically told you without telling you this offseason that that was the plan. They went out and signed Hollywood Brown. They went out and go trade for Dontavian Wicks. They trade up for and draft Mekhi Lemon. They draft Eli Stowers. Like, they were bringing in tons of pass catching options. Why? Because A.J. Brown was not going to be a member of the Philadelphia Eagles this upcoming season. Now, there were people that were speculating, oh, the Eagles aren't going to be able to get a first back for A.J. Brown. Listen, when I saw Jalen Waddle go for a first-round pick, and this is no shade of Jalen Waddle, but you knew the compensation was going to have to at least match that. A.J. Brown is about a year and a half older, but the production has just been skyrocketing over Waddle the past 3-4 years as a whole. A.J. Brown's a top 10 wide receiver in football. Not sure if Waddle's top 20, top 25. So you knew that the compensation had to be at least a first round pick. Howie Roseman gets a fifth in there, is what it is. Basically a 28 first for A.J. Brown. And the Eagles offense is going to look a hell of a lot different this year. And you're going to see people today that kind of talk about that as if it's this new resounding thing, like, oh, the offense is going to be. The Eagles knew that the offense was going to be different. That's why they brought in Sean Mannion. The second that Mannion, a Shanahan-McVay style offensive coordinator, came in and they moved on from a Patullo, the offense was going to look a lot different. But the offense is going to look a lot different because they are going to be less reliant on A.J. Brown down there somewhere. They don't really have a guy like that anymore. And I do think that Devonta Smith has top 10 wide receiver in the NFL upside, but he's not that kind of guy. You could throw him a deep ball, but he's not a let me let my guy out muscle and win this. Let me let my guy outsize this battle. That's what A.J. Brown is. It's just not what they have on the roster right now. They got some crispy route run. Like, you could argue Dontavian Wicks is the closest guy on the roster to that, but ultimately, this is going to be a more scheme-heavy offense and a more yak-heavy offense in 2026 than years past. The passing game is going to be completely different for the Philadelphia Eagles, and a lot of this is going to rely on the shoulders of Sean Mannion and Jalen Hurts being able to produce. And I think this is a big, big year for Jalen Hurts. You know, some people say, oh, this is make or break for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl MVP. I think it's already been a make. I think you can't argue, oh, what if at this point? Because at this point, like, we've already seen it. The guy won a Super Bowl MVP. Now, the Eagles' moves in correlation today, Myles Garrett going to the Rams, the Eagles losing A.J. Brown. As an Eagles fan, do I love it? No, not really. But the Eagles have draft capital if they want to go after a Josh Sweat who's on the market, a Max Crosby who's once on the market, and add some edge rusher help, fine. If not, though, again, I think the team is building for the future. The thing that's kind of great about the NFL is it's one game in the playoffs, right? The Rams on paper have this massive super team that, oh my God, they're unbeatable, but it's any given Sunday. It really is. We see teams, the Raiders beat the Patriots in week 1 last year. The Raiders had the number 1 overall pick. The Patriots were in the Super Bowl. It's any given week. The Eagles still have a really good team. They positioned themselves well this offseason with getting Grenard, getting Mekhi Lemon, bringing in Mannion. So am I completely out on Philly after this? No. But the net of losing A.J. Brown and the Rams gaining Myles Garrett in one day, not pretty. Not pretty for sure, but this was a move that we kind of all knew was coming. Just a little bit of bad timing overall for Philly. A.J. Brown is a member of the New England Patriots. Patriots fans should be thrilled. I think you're getting a really, really good player here. Hopefully motivated. Hopefully head in a good spot. I would imagine it is, because this is what he wanted. So I'd imagine he'll be happy, going in focused, and you will see a really good version of A.J. Brown in 2026 on the football field for the New England Patriots. Those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. If you're not yet subscribed to this YouTube channel, but you love the NFL, hit that sub button. I'll catch you next time. Peace.